All right, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. I don't see any changes on the agenda.
See anything else? Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. All right, Chantel.
Chantel Olu with Indigent Services. The first case that we have for you this morning is case number 2022-0017. It does appear that this applicant meets all Idaho Code criteria to be eligible for assistance through the indigent program. It was submitted to Idaho Medical Review, which states that the applied for services are considered medically necessary for the purposes of payment as defined in statute. The total estimated charges are $300,000. The applicant is unable to make the 5-year payment and has no other resources available to meet the request, and has committed to a $50 a month repayment plan upon approval of this application. The next case that we have for you is case number 2022-0018. It's an application submitted for cremation expenses through Manning Wheatley Funeral Home for the amount of $1,200. The applicant is a 63-year-old female applying for cremation expenses for her 63-year-old spouse. They were not veterans and both are considered Bannock County residents. With the information that we obtained, it does appear that the applicant and the deceased meet criteria to be eligible for assistance through the indigent program, and Bannock County is the last resource for payment of these final expenses. The applicant has committed to a $25 a month repayment plan upon approval of this application.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve case number 2022-0017 and 0018.
We have a motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
The next case that we have for you is case number 2022-0019. Our recommendation is a denial of this application pursuant to Idaho Code 313506. The applicant appears to be a resident of Franklin County, therefore Bannock County does not appear to be the obligated county for this request.
Mr. Chairman, I move we deny case number 2022-0019.
We have a motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. We need to find more like that.
I do have one more.
They're residents of some other county.
The next one will be Power County, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Come on up.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Sorry. You guys look like you're just rolling already.
Chantel just makes it easy.
We
on-
do.
on-
We try, anyway.
Good.
Okay, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Okay, my name is Devere Hunt. I am one of the co-owners of Best LLC and Badger Incorporated, which runs the contract between Bannock County and us, and the contract between Bannock County and the state for the crisis center here in town, which is Southeastern Idaho Behavioral Crisis Center. And so that's me.
And I'm Heather Moore, I'm also co-owner of Best LLC that operates the crisis center in Pocatello for Region 6.
I feel like I need to put a disclaimer out there. We've been joking on more. I had a fairly significant concussion on Saturday.
Oh,
And Heather had a stroke a while back.
I did.
So we're hoping between the two of us, we're going to actually communicate well today.
Well, we haven't had to talk about the contract for a while, and so we were trying to remember dates and going through our phones, but we're
Yeah.
actually fine.
We're good. I'm just joking around.
so with these contracts, basically, what's the difference?
So there is a lot that's gone on. We've kind of researched the contracts to find out exactly where we are. Based upon everything that we have researched and seen, I believe that Bannock County has signed an addendum with the state of Idaho, which will extend you through March or April. I'm not sure. I don't recall right off. but-
April 30th,
I think it's
2023.
April
23, right?
Of 2023.
Yeah.
And so the contract that we have multiple addendums. Our contract extends us through February 28th of 2023 likewise. So there's technically, I think, a 2-month gap between the state contract and between our contract currently. And so that would, and then it's in 2023. None of us really know what's going to happen at that point. The state was supposed to have put out an RFP for all changes for the managed care contract last March, which we know has not come out yet. And all of the rumor, but nobody will completely validate, but the rumor would be that the crisis centers will fall into the new managed care contract. And so I believe that is why the state has initiated and put out the other contract through April of 2023 with their belief that there will have a new RFP out that will be responded to, et cetera. And at that point, we'll all know exactly where the crisis center falls with managed care. And so I think it's kind of business as usual until we know the state contracts have been able to put in and move forward with. So I think that's the contracting piece. Unless you guys, Braden, may know more information, that's the information we have.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's just an extension, and there's nothing's changed significantly, so.
There's a history of those contracts. If you want, we can walk through some of that history and how that's modified.
Have you all looked over that contract? Is there any
started 6 months after
any
we started
problems or
into
issues?
this. That's a frustrating part to me, is the governor, the governor comes down and we have a big to-do, and then all of a sudden, everything starts changing, within 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess that's politics and money.
It's
Right.
exciting that we're 2.5 years into the crisis center, which is great. But that's an exciting time. The only significant change with the contracts really came in July of this last year, where they started to reduce the funding with the contracts, hoping that the offset of the billing would come into play. And so, just so you guys are aware, our average billing for the year of 2021 is $35,500. The cost differential from the $85,000 that they reduced it to in July, from the original $126, is a $41,667. So there is a differential of a little over $6,000 per month, which is a deficit to the contract right now on an average from what, and that deficit kind of is reflective to us. And so we have modified where we have found other funding for the peer support position. The peer support position is a part-time position that is about $2,700 a month that we have obtained other funding for that. And that funding will continue. We just renewed that through October of next year. So we technically have about a $3,300 a month deficit from the funding. Some of those things we're able to get some donations for some food in the center. I know that the county is providing the lunches and some of those kinds of things. And so we are on a fine line in regards to the funding currently. It's actually a little bit better than I expected it to be. I was expecting about a $10,000 gap. And so some of those pieces, if our census increases, then that covers that gap as well. And so that's just where we are in regards to a fine line. So if there are any opportunities, we discussed this in our last advisory board meeting, that we can find fundraising opportunities, or if there's grant funding through city, CBDG grants, or some of those kinds of things, we're going to be trying to search into some of those pieces. I know there was a discussion about creating a sustainability committee, and so Braden and I will be moving forward with that. So that's the financial piece of the whole thing. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Not as far as the financial piece. I think obviously we're still seeing anybody who walks through the doors that's in a crisis for substance use disorder or for behavioral health crisis situation. And we've obviously had a difficult time doing outreach. It is getting better now that some of the COVID restraints are being lifted. But anything you guys can do to help us get the word out there that we're here and available and fully working, and whether or not we're billing out of the crisis center or not, we're still seeing everybody. It doesn't mean, just because they don't have Optum or any type of insurance doesn't mean we're not seeing people, so.
Okay.
Good. I'm good. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the contract amendment as presented.
Have a motion?
Addendum 4.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
We appreciate that.
Clerk.
There are just two other pieces I'd like to bring up, if you just have a few minutes. One of them being just to make you aware of the staffing issues and concerns and difficulties right now in the medical world. If you guys have heard about the difficulty of trying to hire nurses, et cetera. And so in Region 7, we've actually had to move towards where we started to hire very trained CNAs for our medical position because we can't find nurses. We have not ran into that issue yet here. And so I don't really know what that is. Heather's over the medical piece, but maybe you can speak to what that piece is, just because we need to be proactive in trying to figure out how we can handle the medical aspects of the center if some of these changes and difficulties.
Well, our chairman's
Right.
retiring tomorrow.
Perfect.
Oh, hey.
No, Dean.
Oh, that's right. We've actually talked
We
about
talked to it. It's funny because
That's
after
true.
that advisory board meeting, independently, without an organized coup, we We all went to Dean, hey Dean, do you want to come start pulling shifts over here at the crisis center?
We did, all four of us, not Myrna, DeVere, and myself. But no, I think that Pocatello actually does have a better pool as far as being able to get an RN, an LPN, or even an advanced EMT is what we hire.
You have a university that
Yes.
spits out a lot of kids, and
Yes.
it's a little bit better.
So luckily, we haven't had that, but we do have obviously a mitigation plan, I guess, if you will, in case we ever do, in case we're ever short a staff member. We have swapped. We've had people from Pocatello go to Idaho Falls and people from Idaho Falls come to Pocatello. So it is kind of one of the reasons that we like that we run both centers, because we have that opportunity to be able to share some of the staff, and they're already trained in that position as far as assessments and that type of things go. But if we ever get to the point of having to hire CNAs, it's something we would definitely bring to the advisory board to get their approval. What we did in Idaho Falls is we collaborated with Dr. Anderson from the ER at Idaho Falls Community Hospital, and just we were very careful in our selection of a CNA, someone who had been skilled and trained over a lot of years, and they have the opportunity to be able to call somebody on call if there's anything that comes up and that type of thing. So we feel pretty good about it. We only are hiring 1.5 positions of a CNA. That's all we really need there, and hopefully there's not more of a need, but
That is a big challenge.
Yeah.
it is.
So that's just making you guys aware of that situation. We can keep you abreast of that if that changes. The other question I had, I know Chantel's put a whole bunch of work, just an update on that grant. We call it the Ryan Phillips grant. I don't know it. I believe we sent everything, but
No.
just where we are with that whole piece.
So we have all the documentation with the exception of the $8,000 in regards to the staffing.
Chantel, would you come up?
Yeah,
that
come up so you
this
can
is
get on the
all
mic.
Open and on the mic.
And I know that there has been email communication going back and forth in regards to that. With April, she's stating that the staffing hours were not paid through the grant. And we did offer to pay the remainder of the grant because we have all the documentation for that. As there's questions in regards to the staffing hours, she states that the staffing hours are not paid through the grant. Only the training curriculum was purchased through the COVID training grant. So there's questions in regards to that.
I'm not aware of that, so we could probably.
I wasn't aware of that. I had a meeting with April later today. Is there a way that we could authorize everything besides that for payment?
Absolutely.
And I know that there was an email thread where you guys had offered that, and April said, no, let's just do it all at once.
Absolutely.
It would be better if, for us right now, if we could authorize what you have the information for.
Sure.
And maybe we can even do a conference call with April and with you and with us to determine what that piece might be.
Absolutely.
Would that
So
work?
we have all the documentation for the other part of the
Okay.
invoice. It's just that $8,000, and I can tell you exactly what that amount is.
We have authorization for 19,529, but the 8,042 is what we're still holding back on
Okay.
because of documentation.
Okay.
If we could pay that.
Has
portion
the
out.
19,000 been issued, or are you
No.
still holding it? Oh.
April didn't want us to pay
Yeah.
anything. She wanted it all at once, but that's what
Yeah, that
DeVere's
was an
saying
email
is
that,
he would like us to do the 19,000 and then we'll work out the 8,000.
Okay.
if the commissioners would agree to that.
Well,
that would work
and
with us,
and
too.
like you said, Chantel's put a lot of work in this,
She
and
has.
she's
So
involved with
it's
Christie,
Yeah,
and, like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, in Christie's office. Let's solve it. In person may be better than emails back and forth, so
Yeah,
that
I think if we
everybody's.
can set up a conference call even, and try to work through some of these pieces and find out where we're at with all of it. That would
Thank
be
you for
helpful.
your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's
absolutely.
been, there's a lot of reasons why it's a mess. Not a mess, but it's been very complicated, I think, on both sides. So we appreciate all your extra effort on getting those pieces.
Well,
Absolutely.
and like I say, I appreciate both your offices, all three of you, working towards it, but there's got to be the right communication and the right documentation
Absolutely.
to release the funds. We don't
Well, I
just
think-
release funds.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's, it all started on somebody else's watch all the way across the board. I put April into the middle of it. Chantel got brought into it after it had started, so did Michelle's office. And so it's all of us trying to figure out exactly what was originally said and decided. So
Okay.
it's been a process for sure.
What do you need to move this forward?
Christy, do you want a new invoice submitted with that 8,000?
Yeah.
Okay, So that's the only thing. It's just this burden rate salary staff that we would need subtracted. And so I can talk to April in regards to that, and then we can get that submitted and paid.
Okay, great. Is there anything that you guys have an expectation of, concerns or complaints or issues in the community that we need to be aware of moving forward with the center?
No, everything's been very positive. We had our health fair, and the center come and was represented there.
Yeah, Matt did a great job.
They did.
He does a good job. We also have the EDPTC that we're running through the crisis center as well. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, and I think, probably an average about a couple people a week are coming through the EDPTC, which is nice. So we're trying to relieve even more pressure off of the emergency department here locally. So.
Then we appreciated you coming over to Soda Springs.
Yeah,
That was nice.
that was great. Appreciate that invitation.
We're trying to get better communication between all the counties.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're definitely still at 92%, I want to say, from Bannock County as far as who is going through the crisis center. So I'd love to see a way for us to improve transportation from the outlying counties to be able to serve them as well a little bit more.
Well, the outlying area that has been the most in facility is probably from the tribe, which has been great. That was part of the original contract, was trying to reach into that population. One thing that is also we've been trying to do is reach into the Hispanic population. Myrna Daniels, who has Hispanic heritage, is going to be doing some commercials on radio. That's where that population tends to receive a lot of this information. So we'll be doing some Spanish-based commercials on some of the Latin-based radio stations.
Well, Matt and Myrna have done a great job.
They're awesome.
I mean, they're
Amazing.
very efficient.
We've extended their contracts likewise through the end of all of this, so
Good.
hopefully they won't leave us. Well, they won't. We have them under contract now.
Right?
But they're great. They love what they
Sure,
do, and they're awesome what they do.
They are. All right. Any
Thank
further?
you. Thanks for everything you guys do as well.
Thank you.
So appreciate
When
your
would you like us
support.
back? We enjoy coming just to present and see if there's any issues.
I think we need to do it on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
If you'll just get a hold of Braden
Okay.
and get on our agenda.
And either you can come in on a Tuesday or a Thursday. If there's more like general issues or stuff like that, working session, it's better to come in on a Thursday. Tuesday's more like signing day for
Okay.
Oh, it is.
official
Okay.
business. That's kind of how we do it. So
Okay.
don't feel that you have to be on a Tuesday. If you have things that you want to talk about, look that way. We can do it on a Thursday too.
Well, thank you for the opportunity we have. to
Appreciate that.
participate
Cool.
with you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
They have a wonderful
See you guys.
holiday.
See you later. Thank you.
Thanks for your help, Chantel.
All right, Adam?
Okay, I'll come find you. Thank you.
Good morning. Adam McKinney, Chief Technical Officer. This morning I'm just circling back around, brought you guys the finalized purchase and a lease agreement for the Pocatello Police Department console upgrade, something that was actually started just before I became the director. I think about the week that the last director retired, we had just started the process on this. We took this agreement back to make sure that legal got it, and that we're on the, it's on a 5-year 0% interest lease agreement with these guys. We put the money away in the side in our 911 budgets to purchase this over the next 5-year period, and I've just brought it back for you for an actual signature on it so we can get it started.
Signature.
I know, it's a monster.
And this,
It's a big one.
and this has all your boards, radios.
Yes, the equipment list is included. This includes a complete console upgrade for Pocatello Police Department, which includes 5 dispatch positions, the entire console system for Vesta, and then it also includes backup radio consolette upgrades for all of our Chubbuck and the Bannock County Sheriffs to put them all on the same age of system.
Okay.
Our Chubbuck system and our BCSO systems currently are just the previous generation model of this MCC 7500 system that'll go into Pocatello. So at that point, our dispatch console systems will be completely redundant, which they already are to a point, but some manual switchovers has to happen. This system currently will integrate so that the 3 dispatch centers
We
will
won't
act
have
like
that
one.
analog wire board hanging out the back.
No more analog. Yeah, no. And this also does, included in this are the connections to the Vesta system that will bring us to the digital recording system eventually once we do that upgrade as well. So, yeah, there is quite a bit to sign there, and they did actually also request that the clerk sign as a witness on one of those pages.
I'll have
So-
one of the clerks.
And they do want a wet signature
He just came in.
return.
There you go.
There he is, perfect.
I need this guy.
You need to sign something first.
Yes, what I heard, but this is precedent at the moment.
He's like, leave me alone.
Get your live stream working in just a
That one
minute.
needs your signature. And then the rest, one is for Shanda and the other one is for after delivery.
Yes, there are 2 or 3 customer sign-off pages in there. So once the equipment is on site, there's actually a sign-off for us to sign off once we've inspected the equipment. And then there's also one after the equipment's been installed. We'll do acceptance testing and sign off on that as well. So
But we're at 0% interest.
0% interest, 5-year period. Yep, 137.5 over a 5-year.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to authorize the purchase leasing agreement with Motorola Solutions Day Wireless for the upgrade of the Polk teleconsole systems, Bannock County Sheriff's Office in Chubbuck.
Is that the only spot?
I think so.
Yeah, there's just one spot for the.
There you go, there's your motion.
All right, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
I saw the movie Down Periscope, and the dude has to reach in and grab the wires, and that's what I was thinking about.
Hold on to it to make the
Tello is you got
connection.
some poor guy back there hanging on.
Guilty group.
Will you find out, are we sending off that form?
I went into their
838, or
dispatch
will
center,
they-
they literally have.
The 838's
analog
included.
wires
I think they're gonna send.
Okay, will
boards
you verify
on-
who
Yes.
sends it to the
breakup boards, so
IRS,
you
because
get-
if we
it's
don't
like-
send it timely,
We have to get, okay.
we get zinged?
Yes, absolutely.
So I just want verification that it's been sent.
Okay, and if not, then we'll send it.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, will do. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Later.
Zing.
I like Zeke better.
All right,
Shanda.
Zeke's good.
Shannon Carey.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Shannon Stone, Purchasing and Economic Analyst. So I am here before the board today to further discuss our conflict attorneys and the direction that we want to take with that and the steps that we want to take.
Okay. And we've met a couple times on this, 2 or 3 times. The job description, we wanted that, and then the funds, where we're getting them. But we need to move on this quickly, because by the end of this month, we need the job.
We need to have somebody, because we're running out of attorneys really quick.
So in regards to the job description, I did reach out to Human Resources. They did have to leave our last meeting a little early. So I did touch base with Ryan on that. They are working on it. He has been out sick the last couple days, so we've been unable to touch base. But I can touch base with Josh, or we can wait for Ryan to return and to make sure that that is complete. Once it is finalized, I did assume that it would go back before the board for a final review and approval. Or how would we like to do it?
Well, I know, just to kind of add to that, Ryan was still waiting to receive the sample contract from Bingham, right?
Bonneville?
Bonneville County, excuse me, from Bonneville County, to kind of see how they were running theirs. And he hadn't received that last night, I think it was Friday.
Okay.
So,
Let's push on that.
okay, I can
and
reach
see.
out to them
I mean,
today,
we
or
need to,
one of us.
We need this like
we
now.
need to move.
Okay. He did say, though, that once he receives that, it should move really quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because he's just gonna mirror language.
pretty much.
And so, Brian, once he has that, can we read them offline and just say, post the job? I mean,
Yeah, that's up to how.
Yeah,
mean,
we can do that. in a
I don't see having to have another meeting just to review
Right.
the job description.
Yeah, no.
Okay? And then Christie,
What, I just need to know how many bodies and where you want, are we wanting to move money from the contract?
Yeah, we're gonna
And
have,
then move it into,
did we have, when we talked, I didn't think we could move money right now from the contract without,
opening the budget.
no, maybe
I
I'm
can
thinking
move
wrong.
well.
In the contracts that we currently have with the, okay, yeah,
Because
we'll move
have
money
some
from them.
savings. I need a set amount of, are we gonna do one attorney and one staff then?
One attorney, one
Okay.
staff. That was
One
what was
attorney, one staff,
decided last
internal.
meeting.
Okay,
And then we'll address the other thing later.
okay. And I think I found enough that we could move from that contract, and then we'll move it into the different department where we house the overage for the overflow of the conflict attorneys. We can move it into there and establish that
Yep.
as the office of
Conflict
conflict, if
attorneys.
that's what you want to call it.
Yeah,
So I'll just need to move all all of those, I can have the budget revision. It's not opening the budget, it's just a budget revision.
Okay.
So we should just be able to do that with a resolution.
Okay,
So,
okay.
and no.
No,
formal
we can go ahead and,
public hearing.
get
So I can
the,
get that.
yeah, if we can get the job description posted, then we go ahead and put the language together, and as soon as we get job description and that, job description can get posted, and as soon as you have what we need to do to move monies, we can get on the agenda as soon as you're ready, and we can move that, and then as soon as somebody applies for the job, I would leave it right now. Like I said, these ones, I was talking to some attorneys the other day, and they don't know if we would get anybody to bite for contract or these positions right now. There's been a couple of the firms that I was talking to, there's 2 attorneys from 2 different firms, and they said that they were offering jobs to people and they can't even get them to come here.
Tough market right now.
Yeah.
Real tough.
And when we get that job description, I'd like you to look it over too, Carrie. I'd like-
So another quick question, what do you want to do about operating budget? Because that's just, I mean, do you want me to do a swag and,
Yeah, we're gonna
Come
have
up with
just
something?
Yes.
a basic, yeah.
okay, I'll see what
I mean, we're gonna have to, and again, we don't have a baseline, but I mean, we can do a little bit of guessing off of
This office will
public
probably,
defender's office. some of the other
probably
stuff.
go in over where the or adult probation just come out of, is where we'll end up putting
If
it.
they're gonna need any office equipment, then I would recommend maybe using contingency
Yes.
to pay for it. Because then, we're not gonna have the money to cover.
Well, the only
the
office equipment,
Desks, computers. maybe,
desks, we
unless-
actually have a bunch of desks right now that are all over
Okay.
that we've been finding. It's amazing when we start moving and we find all these desks that are out there.
Okay, so that'll lessen it, it might just be IT.
Desktop and a laptop.
Copy machine.
Desktop for the
And then
office and a
phone,
laptop.
coffee
Phone.
machine, printer,
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
And we need to kind of have a meeting about all that anyway, with switching offices, about printers and
Yeah.
copiers and.
There's some stuff
Can I
out
just
there.
work with Braden and I'll
Yeah.
kinda get a list of, we can get a list of what we think we're gonna need, and then we can get numbers and see how much you'll need to authorize for contingency.
We go from there.
That 95% thing, I like it.
We like the 95% thing, just saying.
Commissioner Moser, we would also need to appoint a hiring manager, that then, right, once hopefully applications start coming in, right, they would look and review, and is there an individual you'd like to?
Braden.
Braden will be the hiring manager on this.
This office will report directly to the Board of Commissioners. That's where it's gonna need to go, and then the board will actually hire. So,
Okay,
you good?
questions? I know there's concerns, but
You know, I'm excited to kind of see what pull you get. I mean, I think it's that opportunity to test the waters and see if we can recruit and get it launched. I think this is the first step. Might not be perfect out of the gate, but I think we've got everybody at the table to think it through and evolve it. And here's our first baby step.
Well, and the worst that happens is nobody applies.
Yeah.
And then we're back to the
And that
contract,
tells us something
and
right
that
there.
tells us something.
Yeah.
The guys that I was talking to, and gals, while they were having troubles recruiting, when I kind of explained to them, you know, what was going on, there was a bunch of them that said that you'd probably get some attorneys that really don't want to have to deal with stability, because let's face it, criminals are not going away, and that this will be a stable county position relatively, you know, and a lot of them, especially if they are already keeping time as a lawyer, I mean, most attorneys already have to do it anyway, so it's not a big deal for them. It's, you know,
So I
We'll see.
can put the numbers together. If we don't get anybody applying as an employee, did you just say we'll go back to the contract?
we might have to.
Okay, we don't want to move money
I know.
until we know. So
Yeah.
how about I
as
put
long
the
as we
numbers
know we have the
together.
funds available.
So
Have
I'll
it,
do a
have it put
tentative-
together that we can
Okay.
execute upon,
Hiring?
yes. But yeah, it's one of those things that, let's test the water and find out.
Right.
Because I
just-
don't,
I didn't want to move and then move back.
I
So-
agree with you. Thank
Okay.
you.
I think the contract thing is gonna be probably the more difficult one, because that's the one thing that everybody, then they have to try and hire their own staff and do all this other stuff, and it's a headache, and a lot of people don't wanna have to go down that road.
Well, every one of them have talked about, well, we want benefits, we want benefits. Here's the opportunity for benefits.
Yep. Here you go.
Which increases the package quite a bit.
Yep.
Do you want me to reach out to our current contracted conflict PDs and tell them about this?
Yeah, I think once the job description's there, I'd send it to them. See if they wanna come in-house, and then we could start going from there. I mean,
Just
anybody,
let them know about it.
anybody
Just
can
let them
apply
know
to
they
it.
can apply so they don't think.
Any attorneys that you know walking through the office that aren't already conflicts or something like that, have it posted. I mean, this is gonna take, I think last time we posted it in the bar publication, for an attorney's opening. I think we put it in just about everywhere we could put it to try and get somebody to,
We'll make sure Ryan or Josh know how to post it on the out-of-state bar. And it's a pretty straightforward
Yeah.
process. I expect that already posting for our prosecutor and public defender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so if we could do that same thing.
It'd be an interesting look on workload if one of our existing conflicts took it and they took their current caseload with them.
Yeah.
So I know there's been a concern about how do you ramp up the employee with work to be commensurate with being full-time on how we assign conflicts without pulling them from someplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's an interesting.
Yeah.
I was just saying keep them in the loop so they don't see this, so they kind of
So-
know what's going on because they're already contracted with the county, and so nothing comes as a surprise.
Can we try and have job description by Thursday? I'd really like we need to have job description by, I mean, we're the first of the month now. It's December. We have a contract that's coming to an end at the end of this month. We're gonna have, I mean, we gotta move, so if we can, let's try and have job description by Thursday, and let's try and get this posted as a goal. Let's try and get it posted by Friday.
Okay.
That's, if we can get the posting, and then hopefully
I don't think
by
that-
next week, maybe we'll get a bunch of job, but maybe we won't, and maybe we might have to look at things, but,
I don't think that should be a problem.
I don't think
As
we'll
long as
either.
we get the contract from Bonneville's as soon as
well,
we can. it should
all
be
you're
really quick.
gonna do is you're gonna take the job description of a public defender right now, and you're gonna change some language in it, and it should
Right.
take about 10 minutes.
Right.
So,
So it should be able to, Friday should be,
Go.
that should be likely, yeah.
okay, all right.
Along the same question that Mr. Trammell had, the two contracts that, we had two people letters of interest turned in as we posted those contracts. Would you prefer that I reach out to them also and say that, right, we're heading along this direction? If they would like to apply for the position, this is how to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
Will do.
Are we going to use, so we've got one vacancy in the contracts with a potential for a second, right? Because they've already provided notice.
Well,
So-
one's provided notice, the other one wants out but
Well,
hasn't put in their
intent.
official notice
Yeah,
yet.
Okay.
they're kind of.
Are we going to use those two vacant contracts to fund this?
It's gonna be the intent right now.
Okay.
See,
I just
so
got to
if you-
make sure I've got enough money.
We probably need to cancel that other contract then.
Well, once they terminate it, once they go, we'll have to, this is where we're gonna have to get creative.
Well,
We're gonna have to reach back out to them, and what we're
It's not gonna
gonna,
be available.
so what we're gonna need though is you're
It's
gonna
gonna be
need-
available.
It's gonna be available,
We'll have monies available for 6 months anyway.
and we'll redo the contract at budget.
And, you
What
know,
we're
so
saying,
we're not gonna,
if they
we're not
terminate-
gonna come up against a bumper 1 month into this.
How about this? How about we reach back out to that contract and ask for a precise date of when they're terminating? Ask them actually when they're
Or-
gonna terminate.
Or you could say, if we can hire someone in-house, are you good with terminating upon that
Yeah,
timeframe?
reach out to them and see where they're
Something
at.
like that.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think we ask them for a termination date yet. I think that we go through this and see how many people start applying for this other job, and then we
And then
can
do it.
talk about it.
Because if they're willing to hang out
Because-
for.
Well, I'm worried about in-house people applying, then that would open up their money. So
Well-
I don't want to get too far down the road.
Right.
Yeah, with
I mean, it's gonna go, they've already indicated,
Everyone's out of
they're
contract,
pretty
you don't
serious,
have
they're
to-
gonna go, and I think they're mainly just hanging out to see, to give us
Help
some
us
help.
out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so if we can get, and that's gonna go, and then when we come back into budgetary cycle, then we can go through and realign this to where it's,
I'm going to need
I know,
both.
I know.
But we can put the position out there and get it
Right.
ready right now, because we're not moving funds.
Right.
Yeah.
We can look at it, and then if somebody in-house decides to do it, and if they decide to leave, then we're talking about 3 different funds, or what are we gonna do, or, I mean, I don't wanna get it too far ahead of
And I hate to
ourselves,
say this,
outguessing people.
if you have, you know, and I've always thought this, and if it happens, if we post this, and what happens if you get 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 people that want to apply for this? Well, then all of a sudden the discussion is, well, some of these contracts, we might have to take a serious look of removing a couple of them and whittling it down to maybe only 2 contracts and bring 2 or 3 or, as the funds that you would
Well,
adjust.
Then it comes back to the other part of the discussion, the monthly salary or the hourly salary and stuff, so.
Yeah. So, all right.
I think that, like you said, we're taking the first baby step right now, and we'll test the waters.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, thank you. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
guys.
Thanks, Shannon.
All right, Braden, we got snow groomers applications.
Yes, so I was given the applications, Christie included them in the packet. I don't know typically how this process works, but we need to bring it to you guys.
This is applications for people joining
For
the
the
snow
snow
grooming board.
Right.
Alan, if you'd take a second and just talk about what they brought up to you and how they changed their bylaws.
Yes, so there were some changes in the bylaws that they added. They're trying to, I don't think they've done it yet officially, right? They haven't changed it yet officially, correct?
No, they thought they'd changed their bylaws,
Uh-huh.
but I asked them some questions and they held off for a little bit, I think.
Yeah, they have no idea what's going on with it, so that's why I assumed somebody here may.
So they are moving, or trying to add an officer as who would also be the secretary for the group.
Okay.
And so that was I'd say the major change within the bylaws that they were working on. And so, yeah, that's, without going into too much detail, that's the biggest thing that's going on there.
And those were the applications that we received, was for that position, right?
So in the last meeting, they had nomination of officers.
Right.
And the last meeting they had, when, April, May, March or April, that's when they had in their bylaws that they wanted to make the secretary had to be a board member.
Okay.
Well, the secretary's not a board member. So that's what I explained to them. When they was nominating their officers, your current secretary cannot be your secretary because she's not a member of the board. So one of you people that are on the board will end up being the secretary. And they says, well, we want to hold off. And their board can have up to 7 people. So there's 2 vacancies right now on that board. And I had these applications with me, handed them out to the people that were there. And so that's where we're at now, is they've applied. So the board is appointed by the commissioners, is how it is.
Okay.
And so I wanted to have input in this meeting as we talk about these applications. We don't have to talk about the names, but
Probably, yeah. I don't know if we want to, have we done background checks, all that stuff on them yet?
I have.
I would probably say that I'd have these, take a look at, before we appoint anybody, and then come back either Thursday or Tuesday and make appointments.
okay. Yeah.
That's typically on the.
14th, is that what we said? 14th is our next board meeting.
Typically, assignments like this, you'll have people come in, we'll background check, see if there's anything that disqualifies, we want to make sure that people can be around kids or and all that other stuff, and then if we can go from there, and then, yeah, I might even, I would recommend that even each one of the 3 commissioners, even give them a phone call or talk to them or do whatever and see what's going on. This is one of the boards that we've had kind of the same blood running it for a long time, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, but I also think it's a good thing sometimes when you have a fresh injection into that board and give some perspective, and so I think that that's probably something that I would like to look at.
Okay. Okay.
So you want to plan on bringing it back Tuesday?
Probably
Yeah.
Tuesday next week.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Jeff won't be back till next week, so
All right, sounds good.
we'll do that. And if you guys will run a background check on them,
Thank you very
we'll
much.
move forward.
We'll get back on for Tuesday then.
Okay. Next. We have resolutions. We don't have any resolutions, I don't think.
I didn't see anything.
We have quitclaim deeds.
Yep, this is for property sold.
Yeah.
Nope, you're the only one that needs to sign the quick claim.
All right. Then we have certificate of residency. Does that need to be separate from the consent?
Yeah, I was just gonna do them all together.
Okay. With, yes, it is signature only, but anyway. We have salary rate approval forms. And then we have minutes from November 22nd and 23rd. Thank you.
You good? No. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
A motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. That being said, we'll be at recess till 11.